The latest crop of all-electric BMWs hasn't really impressed me that much. The i4 M50 sports sedan is as quick as a flash, but otherwise not terribly engaging. And then the iX SUV, for better or worse, is kind of like a rolling art project, a little bit too far out there for me. But this is something else entirely. The 2023 BMW i7 xDrive 60 is an all-electric flagship sedan, a battery-powered version of the latest generation 7 Series. A mega impressive car, it manages to be the best of both worlds, cushy and coddling, yet cutting edge at the same time. In this video, we'll walk you through the i7's advanced technology and we'll explore the cavernous interior, which is downright opulent. Now, we also have a full review of the i7, so make sure to check that out for more information about this sedan's dynamics and how well it works as an EV. This particular video is all about features and amenities. Outside, we're not going to talk about too much in this particular video, but our i7 tester here is equipped with the available $6,550 executive package, which includes power-operated doors. At the push of a button, these swing panels will motor open and closed all on their own. And as you can see, they've got sensors built in. I was a little bit too close, so that keeps these doors from crashing into another parked car, a pedestrian, the wall of your garage, anything like that. Very thoughtful engineering. But wait, there is more. It's kind of a frivolous feature, but you can actually open and close all of the doors all at once. How cool is that? I'm not sure when you would ever really use this feature, but gosh, it's kind of a nice parlor trick, isn't it? Anyway, I'll see you later. Oh, hey there, you're back. Come on, let's check out the i7's interior, which is where all of this car's most interesting features are found. Now, the overall design is very warm and expressive, kind of surprising for a German car. Typically, they're cold and industrial, but not this BMW. Of course, the materials are phenomenal. We have optional merino leather on the door panels and the dashboard, plus laser beam straight stitching. Very good craftsmanship here in the i7. There's also the optional Alcantara wrapped headliner and roof pillars, which look fantastic as well. Then there's open pore ashwood trim on the dashboard and center console, which contrasts quite nicely with a couple other elements, namely this diamond faceted trim here on the dashboard and door panels. And then we have this crystalline control knob for iDrive, as well as crystalline controls for the front seats. And these last two items, not really my favorite. I would prefer something a little bit cleaner, a little bit simpler, especially here on the dashboard, but I've got to give BMW credit for really pushing the design envelope. Of course, this is a flagship caliber luxury sedan, so that means it is loaded with technology, which in the 21st century means there are plenty of screens. So immediately in front of me is a color head-up display. Just below that is a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, and it's actually very simple to reconfigure both of these displays. You just push the little gear icon here on the steering wheel spoke, and I can cycle through and adjust the content that is in the instrument cluster. I can also adjust the layout if there's a design that I prefer, and I can very easily do the same for the head-up display. In a lot of other vehicles, you've got to dig through a whole bunch of menus to do this. BMW made it simple. Turning our attention slightly to the right, we have a 14.9-inch touchscreen that, of course, is mounted in the same housing as the digital instrument cluster, and this is where the iDrive infotainment system lives. And I've got to tell you, there's a lot of functionality here. There's a pretty steep learning curve, but iDrive absolutely flies. It is easily one of the fastest infotainment systems on the market today. It is super performative, and there's basically zero boot up. You get in this car, and the system is basically ready to go. Back to the home screen, we have these icons here. I don't really find myself using them all that often. What you mostly do, at least in my experience, you tap this little, looks like a Microsoft Windows logo, and that brings up all of your apps just like that, so you can scroll through here and find what you're looking for. However, if you're hunting and pecking, can be a bit annoying while you're driving, you can limit the apps list to just infotainment applications by tapping right there. That gives you your news, podcasts, Alexa, whatever. Similarly, if you want the vehicle owner's manual or other functions like that, tap on vehicle apps. That refines that list to just vehicle-specific apps. So you can adjust interior lighting or pull up the owner's manual or climate control system. Much easier that way. But this is an electric vehicle, which means it does have some EV-specific functionality, and I think you're going to want to check this out. So to get there, we just tap on charging, just like that, and that brings up a very easy-to-use menu that you can swipe through just like this. You can enable location-based charging. There's manual battery preconditioning. So in normal use, you would have a route active in the navigation system. You would know where your next DC fast charger would be, and the car should start preconditioning as it gets to be time to charge. But let's say you're going to a DC fast charger. You know exactly where it is. You don't need a route active in the nav system. You can manually turn on battery preconditioning so that when you arrive at that DC fast charger, the vehicle is ready to absorb energy as quickly as possible and get you back on the road ASAP. Moving along, of course, you can adjust how loud the fans are while you're charging. So if you're in a location where noise pollution is an issue, you can keep it a little bit quieter. There's also a very easy way of setting the charging target. So if you own this car and you plan on keeping it for a long time, you want to preserve the battery life, you may only want to set this to charge to, say, 80% every day when you're plugging in at your AC charger at home. Super easy to do right here on the charging menu. Additionally, we have the AC limit function. If I tap on this and turn it on just like that, I can now lower how much power the car draws. So let's say your level 2 charger is on a circuit with a relatively low amperage rating. You don't want the breaker to keep tripping because the car is drawing more power than the circuit can provide. So what you do is you limit how much juice the car pulls in so that breaker tripping does not happen. And again, it's super easy to do right here in the iDrive charging menu. So navigating back to the home screen, there's another thing you can swipe down like this, and it gives you access to some frequently used or suggested apps. You can also pin shortcuts up here at the top. So I have one for seat comfort that I saved there. That allows me to adjust, say, the lumbar and other seat-related functions. I can swipe down again and bring up doors and windows. So if I wanted to open or close the sun blinds in the back seat, I can very easily do that. The left blind, the right blind, or the rear. Of course, the sunroof as well is an option. And then automatic doors. If I want to open and close the doors like I showed you a minute ago, very easy to do right from here, either open or close. So I can tap an arrow there, it'll open just the driver's door. Very simple. I tap it again, and intuitive, of course, because you can see the direction of the arrow changes. And just like that, I don't have to pull the door closed manually, like some sucker. I can have the car do it for me. As I mentioned, this system is incredibly responsive, though I don't find it quite as intuitive as the MBUX infotainment system that you get in like the Mercedes-Benz EQE sedan that I recently evaluated. Still, this system absolutely flies, though if you don't want to use it, either the touchscreen or the dial, of course, you can use a smartphone mirroring system. So there's Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, of course, and both of those will connect to this vehicle wirelessly. You can drop your phone right here on the charging pad to keep it fully juiced up, though if you prefer to plug in, like I often do because it charges quicker, we do have a pair of USB Type-C ports right here in the center console, though I'm not going to show you because you already know what a USB Type-C port is. Now, beyond that, we have plenty of other screens in the back seat to talk about, but we'll get to those in just a minute. As you might expect, this car also has standard 4-zone automatic climate control. That's super easy to get to because there's a persistent button right here on the screen that says Climate Menu. All you do is tap that, it brings up a whole bunch of functionality. So multiple settings, of course, for the ventilated seats, multiple fan speeds that you can choose from. It's also very simple to adjust where the air comes out. I have it on feet and vent right now, so I can tap either of these buttons to do the same thing, or I can sort of just tap on the icon, the pictograph here, to adjust where the airflow comes from. Now, this looks like a lot, and it is, but that's because I have it on the driver's side right now. If you swipe over here, you can adjust similar things here for the passenger side. You can also sync them and do other things right up here on the top of the screen. All right, 3 more things to talk about before we move on from this car's HVAC system. Number 1, a heat pump comes standard in the i7, which is great no matter the weather because it helps improve vehicle efficiency, which means more range. Number 2, this particular example is fitted with the optional $1,300 laminated glass, which includes a reflective layer, a heat reflective layer that helps keep the cabin cooler in hot weather like we were experiencing today, and like which Probably gave me heat stroke earlier. Anyway, last thing to talk about are the air vents on the dashboard. I don't know how you screw up an air vent, but BMW managed to do it. These things are, frankly, pretty terrible, possibly even worse than the ones you get in Teslas where you have to aim them on the screen. Not very good. Anyway, the air comes out of these little slits in the trim here, so you don't get a lot of flow, although you can adjust the flow with sort of these digital sliders here, which are pretty unnecessary. But the big problem I have is the aiming. Where do you want the air to flow? Well, you adjust that with these drums that both turn and slide. They are super fiddly and very distracting to use while driving. Not to mention, it's difficult to get the air where you want it because the vent is so narrow. Like, they need to go back to the drawing board and do better because this really is not good. If you've got $4,800 burning a hole in your pocket, you can hand that over to BMW and they will gladly give you a premium Bowers & Wilkins sound system with these beautiful etched metal speaker grills. You also get nearly 2,000 watts of power and a whopping 39 speakers. 39 speakers. I mean, it's a shame I've only got 2 ears. This car is also fitted with the optional interior camera. It's mounted right up here on the headliner, and you can access it by tapping on the apps menu, and then you go to interior camera. Very easy to do, and you can see it pulls up an image of the cabin and all of the crap on the front seat that you normally don't see. And of course, Ben is behind the camera, or he should be at least, but he's standing off to the side. I guess perhaps he's a little bit bashful. It's been a very hot day. We're both hangry. But anyway, interior camera might just be the cheapest option in BMW history. They only charge you $100 for it. Of course, the interior camera allows you to take a selfie if you're into that sort of thing. And of course, you can monitor the i7's cabin through the My BMW app. You can see it brings up sort of a home screen. We've got the state of charge of the vehicle, which is currently at 60% with about 201 miles of range on the clock. Not too bad. You can lock or unlock the doors, honk the horn, flash the lights, do a variety of other functions like that. You can also remotely enable the cameras. If I click on this, we can see the outside of the car. Just give it a minute here. Creating 3D view. Okay, 3D view is limited because we've got one of the doors open. But as you can see, how cool is that? I can sort of zoom in and out. We can see Ben's car in the background. There's a dumpster if you're interested. And then again, some of the doors are open on the side of the car so we don't get the full visibility. But this does give you a good idea of what this feature's all about and how powerful it can be. But now let's move to the back seat because there's so much more to talk about than just seat comfort and legroom, though the i7 does excel in both of those areas. Among many other options, this i7 also has the $600 luxury rear seating package, which includes ventilated and massaging back seats. But whether you get that or not, this car is super comfortable because these chairs are plush but supportive, and you get plenty of leg and headroom, even for 6-foot-tall passengers. So in addition to all of that, we also have the rear executive lounge seating package, which is a $7,250 option. A lot of money to spend, but it does get you something pretty cool. This passenger side seat actually reclines. And to do that, I go over to the 5.5-inch screen on the door panel here. There are 2 of these in the back seat, one on the other side as well, but I just tap seat, and then there's a little bed icon, kind of like a business class chair on an airplane, but you tap that, and now a whole lot of stuff is going to start happening. You can see the front chair, the bucket seat is reclining, is pushing forward, it's going to slide forward as well, and then my seat here is going to start reclining in just a second once this sort of does its mechanical ballet, which does take a minute or 2, and obviously you can't enjoy this feature if somebody is sitting there, or maybe you can and it just crushes them. I haven't tried it yet, but I don't think that's the case. Anyway, the leg rest is lifting up right now. The footrest is going to deploy here in just a second. And I'm getting more and more comfortable, I'll tell you. Look at that. Just like business class. I could get used to this. You also get a special center console. It has a wireless charger right here on the top. You push a button. That's how you access your cup holders. And then, of course, there are a couple USB ports, Type-C, right here underneath the armrest. But this is all small potatoes compared to what you also get in the options group, because it includes the BMW Theater screen, which folds down right from the ceiling. What you do, you go back to your 5.5-inch touch display over here, and you tap fold down, and some magic's gonna happen. Screens go up in the side windows here and at the back to block out any light and reduce glare. And then a massive 31.3-inch 8K display folds right down from the roof of the car. And this has Amazon Fire TV baked right in, so I don't have the eSIM set up right now, but if I did, you could stream a bunch of shows right on here while you're in the back seat of your BMW. There's also a USB Type-C port and an HDMI port on the back of this display, so you could, in theory, run other things, perhaps a gaming console or a Chromecast stick, something like that, right into the screen. Though, curiously, there's no power outlet in the back, so I'm not sure how you would run your N64 or whatever you want to play when you're out on the road, but it's there, and this is pretty cool stuff. There is so much to like about the new i7. I think BMW really nailed it with this all-electric sedan because not only does this car feel great and offer loads of features, but it's a wonderful EV as well. Next up, watch my full review of this 2023 BMW i7 xDrive 60 by clicking right over here. This all-electric flagship sedan drives better than you'd ever expect for something that weighs nearly 3 tons.